Something in these hills. Trees. And the dirt. Something haunted. Evil. This place has the stink.
You smell pine needles?
Underneath that, Joe. Madness. Death.
Hello and welcome to Comic Book Movie Oblivion, the podcast about feature films based on comic books and comic strips that people have stopped talking about. We are your hosts, Jordan and Kumar, that's me.
And me.
And joining us once again, the child of two worlds, the seed of destruction. He's a ghost, a god, a man, he's a guru. You're one microscopic cog in his catastrophic plan, designed and directed by his red right hand, the Teen Titan, Ashwin T. Siva.
Crap.
That was pretty good. Ashwin is actually our Hellboy expert. He's read all of Hellboy.
Amazing.
I read all of Hellboy earlier last year. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's way ahead of me on this for sure. I haven't read all of Hellboy.
I haven't read all of Hellboy either. I've read almost all of Hellboy.
Okay.
Oh, I must have read like 90%. But there's always more coming out. And there's BPRD. Are you including BPRD stuff?
No, I haven't read BPRD. So I read all 4 of the big omnibuses, which is, I don't remember what they're called. It's like Seed of Destruction, Seed of Destruction, Strange Places, Wild Hunt, and Hellboy in Hell. And then I read the short story collections as well.
Yeah, excellent. That's really cool. All right.
I have read The Crooked Man once before this.
So for people that didn't listen to our previous 3 Hellboy episodes, Ash, why don't you tell us who is Hellboy?
Who is Hellboy? Hellboy is a he's Hellboy. He's a big red dude with a big stone hand, and he's destined to end the world, but he spends most of his time working for the feds, pretty much, going after ghosts, hunting down ghosts, and trying to stop strange, unnatural things from happening.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, he's kind of a intersection between a superhero and a horror comic, I guess, somewhere in the middle there.
I would say he's more like a cop. He's a detective, almost.
Yes, but he does have superhero fisticuffs against these creatures that he encounters.
Yeah, he lets his fists do the talking a lot of the time, doesn't he?
And his really big gun.
Yes.
Got a big
I have a
gun.
big gun. I just hear Ron Perlman. I don't know, obviously there's no Ron Perlman this week.
No.
But Ron Perlman, I always think of Ron Perlman's voice when I think of Hellboy.
No, and this was one of those movies that we were gonna go see at the cinema when it came out.
Yes. And
then suddenly
Did it?
only came out in Mexico or something. Like that.
I wasn't able to find out.
I do remember it was very limited, like Mexican release or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic in some ways as we go through the story. Now, unlike the previous Hellboy movies, this one specifically adapts one Hellboy miniseries.
Yes.
3-issue series called The Crooked Man.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a smart idea to just take one chunk of Hellboy and adapt it into one movie. As opposed to trying to come up with something whole cloth or mixing and matching different Hellboy things.
Yeah, we did have a discussion about this in our other episodes.
Yeah.
That you felt that the lore with Hellboy is so big.
Yeah.
That any attempt to kind of hit the ground running and include as much of the lore as possible is going to be difficult.
It's also all the Hellboy issues in the main story are really long, and the lore in them is really sparse, and it only really kind of clumps up more as the further you get. In the first few issues, or in the first few volumes of Hellboy, I guess it's like bits and pieces dotted around, and then that's what they're always trying to adapt, it seems, or at least what the first Del Toro movie was trying to adapt. Trying to fit all the lore into that there.
Yeah. I thought they did a pretty good job with that movie. But apparently Mignola himself, there's some press from Mignola about this movie, and he seems to have swung around and doesn't have as many nice things to say about the previous 3 movies.
Really?
Yeah. And is talking about how happy he is with this one because it's going to adapt
Good man.
Yeah, it's going to adapt a single story. So I found an interview with them. It was with Mignola. It was an online interview with comicbook.com, and the interviewer asked him when it comes to adapting your vision of Hellboy, what do you feel like the Crooked Man really succeeds at? And Mignola answered in his high-pitched voice. I can't believe Mignola doesn't have a dark, deep, like a deep, gravelly voice.
Uh-huh.
He looks like a thumb with a beard.
This is a video interview?
Yeah,
Okay.
so you can see him.
Yeah.
He's really stocky.
Yeah.
I keep expecting him to sound like Hellboy, but his voice is quite high-pitched. It's quite disconcerting. Anyway, he said in his high-pitched voice, well, it's one solid story adapted from one story, as opposed to a very loose adaptation. The problem with other movies, I imagine, is that they try to bring in 1 million different pieces from 1 million different stories and hammer them together in a new form. And here we were able to focus and give time to one specific story, which just happened to be my favourite Hellboy story.
Right.
I feel like that's true for the remake, like Hellboy 2019.
Well, I feel like we've had 2 in a row now where the producers looked at Hellboy and said, you know what, this would be really good if Hellboy cursed and there were exploding heads. They were like reading this comic and going, this comic kind of sucks. It needs to have swearing in it and gore. I don't know why twice in a row they've done this thinking it's the solution to selling Hellboy tickets. Very odd to me. I do have a quote. By the way, this miniseries was not drawn by Mike Mignola. It was drawn by Richard Corben, who was one of the many artists that came on later on when Mignola stopped drawing them.
I read that this was the first one that wasn't drawn by Mignola.
Really? I thought there were some other guys that came in earlier, like Guy Davis and stuff. There were definitely people on before Corben.
Okay. I read it on the wiki, but...
That's not...
it's
it's
not
the first Corben story, maybe. I got a quote here from I've got the Richard Corben Artist Collection version of Hellboy. There's a little quote about Crooked Man in here. It says, the Crooked Man, for a long time, this is from Mignola, for a long time I'd wanted to do a story like this, something inspired by Appalachian folklore. Might have eventually gotten around to doing something on my own, but once I started working with Richard, I knew nobody could do it better. Old cabins and gnarled trees. People that would look and feel like people, not necessarily realistic, but grounded in a certain kind of reality. And nobody could have created that version of the Crooked Man. Nobody could have created that version of the Crooked Man. I think it's some of the best writing I've done, and I know that's because I was writing it for Richard. After all these years, it's still my favorite Hellboy story.
Yeah.
Interestingly, there was a sequel called The Return of Effie Kolb, which was drawn by Zach Howard in 2020 as a BPRD series. And he redraws some of those Corben panels from the original Crooked Man series, and Zach Howard draws in a kind of realistic style, very detailed. Something's not quite right.
I agree.
And he's a good artist.
Yeah.
Excellent artist. But I'm like, something's too... Why don't these people look like Muppets?
I think they look like potato people.
They look like they're made out of Play-Doh, which I think works for the Crooked Man as a story.
Yes,
exactly.
It gives it this otherworldly tone. It feels like you're out in the woods.
Yes.
That everyone is gnarled and bizarre.
Yes.
I think Mignola's art works really well for doing ghosts and stuff. Which he's been doing a lot of
interior stuff, even. I think...
Yeah, like dungeons and things like that.
In a mansion, in a rotting mansion or something, Mignola's stuff is more appropriate.
I think Corben's got it for gross old witches in the woods.
Yes. Yeah. But as soon as I saw the Zach Howard...
Gross old witches in the woods.
As soon as I saw the Zach Howard version, which I'd not read until this week, I'd never seen it before, didn't know it existed. And then I was like, oh, this is off because it's not Corben. I was like, what's this movie going to be like? Because it's going to be very not Corben. It's going to be a live-action movie. In a sense, that heavy metal cartoon was the closest we got because it was animated to, like, kind of what a Richard Corben world looks like.
Yeah, the Dan.
Yeah. Okay, so this miniseries came out in 2008. It was 3 issues, set in the Appalachians, as we mentioned.
2008 it came out.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been the first one that wasn't drawn
No,
by
definitely
Mignola.
not.
That's ridiculous.
90s, there were 90s.
Go back and cut that
series. Yeah. No, absolutely not. It's not even the first Corben. Macomo came before this one.
Okay.
Okay, so story-wise, Hellboy, it's set in 1958. By the way, movie set in 1959. I don't know why. We've had this before on the podcast where they shifted it by like 1 year. Were they afraid 1958 was going to sue them? Like, what's going on here?
I don't know.
Such a strange choice. I don't know. Anyway, Hellboy is he's wandering and he's depressed. This is post Hellboy in Mexico stuff. So a lot of bad stuff happened in the Mexico era, and now he's just walking around. He's aimless, doesn't know kind of what to do with himself. And he's just wandering around in the Appalachians, and he stumbles across this house where there's a girl lying catatonic on the floor.
Yep.
And they find out that this girl... Was it a girl or was it a boy?
It's a girl here. It's a boy in the
Right.
film.
She was insulting this girl named Cora Fisher,
She's been witched.
who's thought to be a witch. Cora Fisher's thought to be a witch. She's insulted Cora. Cora threw something called a witch ball at her and caused her to go catatonic. And Hellboy has stumbled across this. Coincidentally, at the same moment, this guy walks into the room named Tom Farrell, and he's been away for 20 years. He went off, he fought in World War II, and now he's just been wandering around. And he's come back to town. He knows a bit about witchcraft. We'll learn why in a minute. He finds out that his mother has died in the time he's been gone, and his dad kind of went missing. They figured he drunk himself to death in the woods somewhere. They just figure he's dead. So they're like, okay, we got to track down this Cora Fisher. So Hellboy is going to go up there with this guy, Tom. Now, immediately and throughout this series, we're in a unique position because Hellboy is depressed and aimless. So he's just following along. This is stories about Tom versus the witches. And in one stage, he literally says to Hellboy, I got to go have it out with the Crooked Man. You want to come along? And Hellboy's like, I wouldn't miss it. But that's it. It's not Hellboy's like, let's go fight this guy. We need to sort this stuff out. He's very passive through this story. So, unusual choice for a movie.
Right.
In terms of which series of Hellboy you're going to choose. And immediately I'm like, oh, this is like odd stuff. Anyway, so they go, as they're walking up to Cora Fisher's house, we get the backstory on Tom. When Tom was a young lad, he met this girl named Effie Kolb.
Yes.
Who was a witch.
Yes.
Bad witch. Powerful. And she taught him how to strip an animal down to its bones and wash the bones in such a way that he would summon the devil.
A black cat.
Yep.
Yep.
And he got into witchcraft, basically. He made a deal with the devil and had this... the last bone that you're holding when the devil shows up, that's the bone, the special one.
Yep.
And
The
he's been
lucky
keeping
bone is
it,
what it's
the
called.
lucky bone.
Yep.
And he says he's never consciously used it, but he thinks it kept him alive through the war.
Yeah, that's right. Because he has a change of heart when he sees the devil.
Yeah.
And flees town.
Right.
Ends up in the Pacific War.
Yeah.
But his lucky bone presumably kept him alive.
And the devil, by the way, is this character named Miser Whitkins, who's not actually the devil. He's like an agent of the devil, let's say, who's collecting souls on Earth.
It's deliberately vague, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we're told,
like all Mignola stuff is.
Yeah. Well, we're told flat out that he's. Well, I mean, Tom says that he's the devil,
Yeah.
and I think Crooked Man might be a name for the devil, perhaps, in that part of the world. But he also has a backstory that's decidedly kind of mundane. Well, not that mundane, because apparently he lived for hundreds of
He
years.
was apparently the first white man that settled in this area.
Yeah.
He was a war profiteer.
Yeah.
He was a very bad guy. Eventually ended up being hanged.
Yes,
to death.
but
Yeah, and then the devil sent him back is all
Yes.
we really get
Yeah.
for how he became a zombie, I guess.
But like as Ashman pointed out, like a lot of Mignola stuff, it's he might be the devil,
Right. Well, I think
because the devil could be many things.
But I think the thing is, because Mignola pulls in from all sorts of cultures and folklores into Hellboy, they all have to exist at the same time. So if different cultures have different devils, those all have to exist in this same universe through some schema.
Yeah.
Right?
It's best just not to ask too many
Exactly.
questions. His background is decidedly magical, actually. It's not mundane at all, because the timelines don't add up. If he's the first white man to settle in West Carolina or whatever it is, that's like the 16th century.
Yeah.
And then it says that he profited from the US Civil War.
Yes.
That's
and
the
the
19th.
and the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, you can't. Those timelines don't add up. So he's some kind of like wizard or something weird, something like that.
No one does ask
Maybe he's
questions.
just the first white man in these hills. Like, specifically on this, what's called the hurricane part of the mountain here.
Yeah.
That's how I took it, for sure.
Yeah. They get to Cora Fisher's house. There's a very creepy, her skin, her empty skin, it's like a body horror moment, is lying in the bed.
Yeah.
They find a jar with a bug in it,
Yep.
which is, they figure it's her demon familiar
Yes.
in bug form. And they're kind of waiting around, and that night, this raccoon comes in through her bedroom window and crawls into the skin.
Yeah. It's
And
pretty groovy.
Yeah, and it
She inflates.
does some J-horror inflation back to
J-horror,
life.
yeah. Yeah, the limbs all flail around
Yes.
and crick and crack.
And she reveals that she's actually regretful about becoming a witch. She is a witch. But she's like, well, my husband died and our kids died and you left town. I married this other guy. I didn't know what to do. So I became a witch. And while she's telling us, then the really bad witch, Effie Kolb, shows up riding this wizened old horse. Mm-hmm. And she's like, the Crooked Man wants you, Tom. And doesn't care about Hellboy. By the way, Hellboy's famous. He's had his pictures in magazines.
Everybody always knows who Hellboy is. It always is.
It's a little like Howard the Duck, almost. Like, everyone knows who Hellboy is, they don't ask any questions.
It's always the
Which
thing.
is-
In fact, the fact that Hellboy is in a magazine in this comic is really just so that Tom can mention that he saw a photo of him as a kid.
Which explains why he's not freaking out at the fact that a giant red dude is
But no one
walking
ever
around.
freaks out about it. In no Hellboy comic does anyone
Oh,
ever
no,
have
never.
a problem with Hellboy. You can attest to this, Ashton.
Absolutely.
But this is so good compared to what we had to get in the Constantine movie or I, Frankenstein, where it's a secret.
Yeah.
All this stuff has to be secret.
Yeah.
Nobody can know about this war
Well-
that's happening between angels and demons or whatever. No, it's all... Everybody knows what's going on
It's fine.
in the Hellboy universe.
Well, everybody knows who Hellboy is.
Yes.
Yeah. He was secret in the Del Toro films, wasn't he? 'Cause
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
deliberately kept
Yeah.
secret
Yeah, that's right.
in a sort of Men in Black kind of style situation.
And then she's like, okay, you have to... The Crooked Man's going to come get you, or you have to find him, or whatever. And she flies up off the horse. She leaves the horse as a gift and flies up into the sky and flies off. This is 5 years before Robert Eggers' The Witch,
Right.
by the way. And the image of the
Yeah.
witch is
Yes.
really similar.
Oh, yeah, right. I didn't even think of that.
I was really surprised coming back to this, and I looked at
It's the
page.
very last shot of the witch, isn't
Yeah.
it? Is Anya Taylor-Joy like floating into the air?
Yeah, yeah.
Even looks like Effie Kolb, actually.
Yes. Yeah. And they pull the bit off the horse, the reins off, and it transforms into Tom's dad, who was still alive but was basically a
Effie
slave
Kolb
horse.
has been tormenting him.
She says she's been riding him.
Real
and
hard.
There's real double entendre there.
Yeah, there is a bit. She's just been riding him hard every night or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And, okay.
And this guy's miserable. Like,
Yeah, it's not the
his
good
life's
kind.
been hell for 20 years.
And she did that to punish Tom for him running away.
Yes. Okay, so, but the dad dies, and they're like, okay, we're gonna bury Dad, find the Crooked Man. They have to go up to this church.
Yeah, he's like, I want to bury him in consecrated ground.
Right.
Give him a proper burial.
And the only church around is up in the
In the
Cursed
hurricane.
Hills. Yeah, in what they call the Hurricane, the Cursed Hills.
Yes.
So Cora thinks this is a really bad idea, but he won't be turned. So up they pack and off they head. They say that they're gonna drag. They decide that Cora's going to come along, or she decides to come along because Tom is determined to get her out of her bargain with the Crooked Man.
Yeah.
He thinks that she's a good person that's just had bad luck, unlike him, who got into it out of lust, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
She deserves a second chance.
Right. So they have to pass through this area called the Mines, where there are these creatures called the Melungeon Witches, which you can absolutely see that Mignola's read some stuff about Appalachian folklore here.
Yeah,
and
he
there's
was like, oh yeah, I'll
pieces
throw
from
this
the
in.
throw
Yeah,
this
yeah,
in.
hell yeah.
There's really creepy... They reminded me of the X-Files Home episode with all the inbred...
Yeah, that's what it's meant to be. They're supposed to be descendants of the Roanoke colony.
Yeah.
They all have 3 eyes and weird limbs. They're very Richard Corben style.
This is all really peak folk horror stuff, this whole series. Before, like, the real resurrection of folk horror in the last 10 years or so, that, like, people have started to become obsessed with it again. Like, he's packed all this stuff in here. Also reminded me of Carl Edward Wagner's Styx, that story where they're wandering through the woods and there's like witchy kind of stuff, or Blair Witch Project.
Right.
All that kind of stuff is in here. Now, so this is a sequence that was confusing to me. This giant bug flies out of Cora's mouth.
Yes.
It seems like it was her familiar, maybe, or it's somehow related. I don't know how this thing got into her.
She had a bug familiar, yeah, so it's probably not a coincidence that a bug comes out of her mouth, but she's just being...
But then after it flies out, she like bloats up and explodes.
Yeah.
So it's not going in and making her explode, it's flying out and then she's exploding.
I think that's like the first bug escaping through her mouth.
Oh, got
I
it.
think.
That makes sense.
Like the bugs are spawning. There's still time for one to come out, and then she just blows up because there's too many.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, she's wandered into a place where the malign influence are particularly powerful.
Yes.
And they don't like her because she's not pure evil witch.
Yeah, that's right, because she's on the way to redemption, but because she's in it, she's particularly vulnerable to their power, and despite the best efforts of Hellboy and Tom, her body's destroyed. But they don't get her soul, as we find out.
Right. Also, Hellboy has a vision of a church, like a cathedral.
Yeah.
In this scene with some figure telling him, because Tom had said everybody knows a devil can't set foot in a church, and this figure in this vision he has says, "You don't really believe that, do you?" And then that thing turns into a bug monster as well, that figure.
This is kind of what I mean by the Hellboy lore being really sparse. Especially in a lot of these short stories, it's like they're just trying to hit him, like put little hints everywhere to just kind of tie it back to the main storyline.
Yeah, it happens a lot, doesn't it? I think in the comics, you'll correct me if I'm wrong here, Ashwin, but Hellboy is usually able to easily overpower most like mystical forces he comes up against by punching them.
This is one of my favorite parts about Hellboy is that he'll come up against all these ghosts and like monsters, unspeakable horrors, and he'll just shoot them, and then it'll be fine.
Yes. So when a monster needs to get the better of Hellboy, they'll trap him in a vision.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he's constantly experiencing these visions.
Right.
And they will usually be providing him with like a hint of his backstory.
Yeah.
So I think basically I might be applying this retroactively from having watched the film, but I think the cathedral that he's in is the one he was born in that vision.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
Yes, probably.
Yeah. So there are bits and pieces you have to know. Like, you have to know why he's just wandering around aimlessly in 1958. You have to kind of have
I didn't even know that at all. I just figured he was just maybe doing a mission.
He is kind of wandering around aimlessly.
He says, "I'm just wandering."
Oh, okay.
He says, "I'm not going anywhere."
Okay.
Yeah, but I feel like you don't need to know why he's just wandering around. It's just
No, you don't,
Hellboy's
but-
sad and he's wandering around.
Hellboy's always wandering around.
Yeah.
Well, often he's on BPRD missions.
Yes.
And here he's kind of not working.
Okay, he's not on a mission. Okay, but he's wearing a BPRD jacket. He's got his symbol, the symbol of the BPRD on the sleeve. I thought he was just on business,
Right?
And he was being like facetious when he said that he was just wandering around.
They get to the church. There's a blind priest in there.
Yep.
And they're like, "Well, we can bury the body tomorrow or whatever." But what happens is suddenly the church becomes surrounded by these local witches. And then the crooked man shows up.
Oh, it's also suddenly nighttime.
It suddenly turns night. That's right.
Because they're on the devil's time.
That's right.
Very
it suddenly flips to dark. There's a sudden intermission here between issues where we get a witch ball page.
The cutaway blew my mind because I watched the movie before I reread the comic. I forgot all about that witch ball cutaway that was in there, and I'm watching the movie, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the movie too early.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
I'm looking at this cutaway, and I'm like, Mignola would never do something like this. This is very clearly Brian Taylor, the director, doing his gonzo stuff that Mitch is doing because he hasn't done. It's been like 20 years since Crank.
Yeah.
Nope, straight from the comic.
Well, yes, but you know what? You're right. Mignola would not do this, but Corben would. This is something that would 100% appear in a Richard Corben horror comic because he always followed the EC Comics Crypt Keeper tradition.
It felt like
the
an
Crypt
EC
Keeper would
comic
show
movie.
up and tell you a little story about what you're about to read, and surely Mignola was saying, "I got Corben, I'm going to have him do an EC Witch page, a Crypt Keeper page, where we get an explanation of how Witch Ball is made." And I read this page before watching the movie. I was like, this is not going to be in the movie. It wouldn't make sense. This belongs in a comic book. It doesn't belong
It's so
in a movie.
odd that it's in the movie, I gotta say.
Very strange.
So it's a Crypt Keeper-esque figure called Granny Oakham.
Yes.
And she tells you how to make a witch ball.
Yeah.
Gives you quite precise instructions.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it's a little bit like those educational pages that used to appear in old comics
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
You know, like in Sheena and ones like that.
Yeah.
And then at the end, she has a Crypt Keeper-esque kind of farewell where she says, "I'll see you in hell," or something like that.
Yes. So the Crooked Man is trying to lure these people out. He wants his bone.
Well, we think he wants the soul, Tom's soul.
Yeah.
And they gradually figure out that what he really wants is
The lucky cat.
the lucky cat bone.
Right, because Tom hasn't been using it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically taking power from the Crooked Man without
Yeah, well,
kind of...
that's
anything
right. Well, the
return.
Crooked Man
it's
is
pissing him off that evil isn't being done with it, and he wants it back. so
He's a
he can
miser.
hold.
That's his cardinal sin is greed.
Yeah.
And the idea that someone's taken something off him, the priest even says it's like you're stealing from him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like that because he has to. He's greedy.
Yes. And he tries to tempt the priest by offering him a mountain of gold to fix up the church with.
Yep.
He makes him young again, gives him back his sight. The priest is trying to resist this, but the priest is resisting it, and they're not getting what they want.
Which
and
is
then
the
they
bone,
figure
yeah.
there are actually some sinners buried in this graveyard, and the Crooked Man is able to resurrect them.
Yep. Even though they're not. The Crooked Man and the witches are not able to enter the church
Yes.
because it's consecrated ground.
Yep.
However, he is able to use his powers to reanimate the corpses of people that sinned, and that's basically everyone in the graveyard because everyone's a sinner.
We get a list of all. They were gamblers, fornicators. Everyone had something or other.
We should also mention that Cora Fisher's ghost is in the church.
Yes,
with them.
that's right.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Which only the priest could see. They couldn't see Cora's ghost.
Well, he could hear her. He couldn't see her. In
Yeah.
fact, he thought
Right.
she was
Well, he's
really
blind.
there because she was talking to him.
And he's like, "Oh, well, must be a ghost then."
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah. Okay, so now we get a zombie attack. And they figure out the way to beat the devil, the Crooked Man, is to take this shovel and draw a cross on it using the bone, the lucky bone.
The
Yeah,
priest
they
gets his...
squeeze the Holy Spirit into the lucky.
Yeah, there's a
bone.
great moment. The priest is able to resist temptation. He has his, I suppose, crisis of faith where he was tempted to make out with the hot zombie.
Yeah.
And then he's old again, he's blind again, and he gets off. He actually yells out, "I'm fired up!"
Yeah.
So he has like a great preacher moment, like a ranting, raving, kind of like ecstatic preacher. He talks about how he's going to grab the cat bone, he's going to squeeze the evil out of it, he's going to force the Holy Spirit into it. And then he uses it to draw as you said, a crucifix on the shovel, then promptly gives it to Hellboy. Tom says, "Shouldn't I have the shovel?" And the priest says, "Come on, man. Look at you." No.
Literally, Hellboy would literally have nothing to do in these 3 issues if they did not give him
Yeah,
the shovel.
that's it. Yeah.
He does not...
Well, he does punch the shit out of a lot of zombies.
He does.
Well, I would like to talk about the zombies as well, because something Mignola does that I love is he never actually does proper brains zombies. All of them what they always are is normal people in one panel, and then skeletons in the next.
Oh yeah, that's his favourite thing, isn't it?
And then they just fall apart, and it's like in a moment.
He loves to do that cutaway, and they're a skeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
I think maybe when we did the Dracula one all those years ago.
Yes, maybe. So Hellboy basically goes out there with his shovel, and it's just a one-hit kill on the Crooked Man.
Yeah.
By the way, it's a bit like the sigils in I, Frankenstein that they were using to kill the gargoyles or something. They just had to draw the
To
sigil
kill the
on
demons.
a stick or anything.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
a bowl of water that had the sigil
That's
in
right.
the bottom of the bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he just whams him with it. It's quite a funny panel. You turn the page, and then there's Hellboy bounding out of the church.
Yes. Not only that, the Crooked Man's top hat is off his head like an
Flying off his
Archie
head.
comic.
Yeah, in surprise.
It's like in midair as he's about to be slammed
Zoinks!
by Hellboy.
And he gets wanged.
Yes.
He dissolves. The witches all get...
Yeah, as an explosion of holy light.
The witches look like they get brain freeze or something. They get some feedback.
Yeah, they all run away.
and they all run away.
Yeah. And then maybe it's daytime, or is it the next day?
It's just the magic night ends.
the magic
it's
night
daytime.
ends, okay. So they bury Tom's dad.
Yep.
And then Hellboy and Tom go up to the Crooked Man's house, this
Yep. To put an end
rotten
to the
old
thing.
mansion, to finally end it. And they go in there, and it's this weird creature.
Yep.
I don't know how to describe this.
Crab blob monster.
Crab lobster with multiple eyes. It looks like there's something from The Thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's
Except
like hoarding all these
less-
jars of gold coins.
It's less. It's not very gory though. It's like I don't want to say it's spectral, but it's like green. It's like a vomit green kind of color.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's odd.
Very strange.
It's a bit
looking creature.
apropos of nothing. It looks like something from Virus. Do you remember Virus?
Yes. Yeah, it looks more like a millipede kind of thing. Anyway, Tom throws the bone at him, and then he just vanishes a puff of smoke, and also all the coins disappear, and there's just like bits of bone and stuff on the table. They go find Effie, who has turned into an old
That's the
woman
very
now.
end, yep.
She had not aged for 20 years.
Yep.
But now she's an old woman, and Tom puts the horse rein on her, and she turns into a horse. And the final panel of the series is we see the horse with a sign painted on its
Beware.
flanks, "Beware, I am a witch." The end.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a good moment, but it's really not much of a comeuppance because all the other witches are probably still around and can just take the reins off her whenever they want.
Yes, that is true. And in fact, that's what happens in the sequel series. Is somebody shows up in town and takes the reins off, and they were like,
I don't want to talk about that secret series.
yeah. But it's like, it says, "Beware, I'm a witch." So if you want a witch, you got one. They put a sign
Yep.
on it. So
Yeah, wouldn't it be better just to not have the sign on it?
Yeah. Well,
Hey, I'm a horse.
then somebody would take. Somebody's either going to take
Someone
it
might
off
take
by
the bridle.
accident or because they want a witch.
Don't-
Either way.
What about I bite? Don't remove bridle.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great comic though.
Yes. Yeah, it really is, and it's got all sorts of stuff going on in it, and it's pretty short, 75 pages or whatever. Okay, now I think we can move to the comic. Or sorry,
You mean the film? Yeah, let's start talking about the film.
All right. So, Ashton is not only our Hellboy expert; he's our Brian Taylor expert
Great.
Yes.
Great. Oh, that's really good.
because he's seen Crank multiple times.
Crank is a movie that has permanently altered my brain chemistry in so many ways. It's been my Roman Empire. I think about it all the time.
Excellent.
Brian Taylor is one half of the duo that directed it. I don't know if he's the crazier half or the less crazy half, because I know the other guy in the duo, Mark Neveldine, will like shoot like on rollerblades with like a little camera, like going around snaking around cars and stuff.
Cool.
But immediately, you look at this guy directed Crank, and you're like, is this the right guy for a Hellboy movie?
Yep.
I really have questions. We'll go through a few of the credits first. He's also he wrote Jonah Hex.
Yeah.
He directed Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah.
So he's going to be coming back twice.
Yeah.
That's the duo did Spirit of Vengeance.
Right. And he was a director and writer on the series Happy, based on the Grant Morrison comic.
Okay.
That lasted 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
He also co-wrote Brave New World with Grant Morrison. So he's collaborating. He's kind of in that comics realm a little bit.
100%. Look, that's why he's got the job.
Yes.
Because
he doesn't seem like
Hellboy fan.
he doesn't seem like a horror director. And also, the editor is this guy named Ryan Denmark. I looked him up because I was like, this is not edited like an experienced horror editor would edit this. And this guy does not really have any movie. He has some spooky TV editing credits, but nothing in this.
I got to say, this is really weird.
Yeah.
Actually, I agree. So he gets the job, I'm pretty sure, off the back of the Jonah Hex work and the Spirit of Vengeance work.
Right.
So we got a director that can work with comic book material.
Yeah.
And he's a fan of the comic, did you say?
I imagine so.
Oh, right.
If he's in the realm.
Right. And yet, also at the same time, there's talking about this being a horror movie. Mm-hmm. Mike Mignola, I've got from an interview in 2023 with Mignola for Variety, presumably promoting the film. Mignola said Taylor's intention, is to make a horror movie, so that'll be nice. That'll be interesting. I read the new draft of the screenplay yesterday, and yes, it is definitely It's the first Hellboy script that I read, and I went, oh, it's a horror movie, which is what I wanted. Taylor does not have a reputation as a horror movie director, but so far we've had 2 horror movie directors make Hellboy movies, and we've never gotten a horror movie. This is why this is weird to me, because Okay, so Guillermo del Toro's films aside, Guillermo del Toro made a really Guillermo del Toro movie.
Yep.
With number 2.
Yeah.
And he made a pretty good kind of Hellboy movie with number 1, but
Yeah.
not a horror movie. Okay, fine. Then you've got Hellboy 2019. The director of that, whose name escapes me, but he was a horror director.
Right.
And he signed on to the project, you might recall, because they told him it was going to be a horror film.
Yeah.
And then when he joined, it all went to shit because it was a terrible
Yeah,
production.
it became a superhero movie.
A really bad script.
Yeah.
And they kept taking creative control away from him, and it's not, so it's really strange to me that Mignola is saying, oh, right, we're finally going to get this horror movie.
From the guy that made Crank.
Exactly.
We're going to get because Crooked Man is also a slow-paced story. It's like...
Oh, yeah, my
it's
God.
like quiet and
It's
like
so the opposite of Crank,
in the darkness of strolling through the woods, wandering, aimless, depressed.
Yeah. The writing credits include Christopher Golden and Mike Mignola,
Yes.
as well as Brian Taylor. Christopher Golden wrote 3 Hellboy prose novels
Well, yeah,
in the 90s. So he knows, and in fact did some writing apparently on 2019 that was uncredited.
Heaps of people worked on 2019, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now we'll talk about some of the actors as we go through, but I just wanted to mention that, especially this editor, just seems strange choice to me. The creative team on this seems strange if the studio's intention is to make horror movie. And when I saw the title logo is incredible. The Hellboy, the Crooked Man logo is a folk horror. It looks like Witchfinder General or The Wicker Man or something like that. It's like, oh, here we go. This is the tone that the movie's supposed to have, and never has it again except for this logo.
I know. The opening credits
The logo
and the end
is
credits.
so perfect. I don't know who they hired to do that bit,
I know.
but it's great.
Do you know who? I know exactly who did that opening
okay.
title and the opening credits.
Okay.
It was Brian Taylor himself.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So he had a...
He did it on his home computer.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got a quote from him. This was an interview from NovaStream Network ahead of the Australian release,
Okay.
alleged Australian release, which may or may not have ever happened, in
don't
October
think it
2024. He said, sometimes title sequences are planned out. This particular one was not. It's funny because on this movie, I did something I hadn't done since Crank 1 and 2, which is I designed all the titles myself at home.
Wow.
They ran out of money and they had some clowns that were going to do it, and I saw what they were going to do, and I was like, I guess I got to dust off my After Effects and Photoshop skills again.
Well, he seems to have gone right to the source, like Blood on Satan's Claw.
But yeah. Like the quote continues, but I really wanted it to have, that hammer horror kind of 70s folk horror feeling going on. I didn't want it to feel slick and polished like a normal comic book movie or even a Hellboy movie.
Well, he nailed it. He nailed the
Yes.
logo.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he didn't nail some other things.
Well, now we start on a train. A Russian train. We've got 3 BPRD operatives on the train. We've got Hellboy, this woman named Bobby Jo Song, who is a new character.
Yeah.
Not in any of the comics as far as I know.
According to Mignola, she is, but she's like a throwaway in one of the very early volumes.
Really? So she does exist?
Oh, in
Yes,
Hellboy
but-
or in BPRD?
In one, he said it was in one of the early Hellboy volumes.
Okay.
Just a random, might not even have been a female,
Yeah.
but just a woman. But must have just like a random character that showed up maybe with that name.
Yeah.
Of all the characters in the world, like of all the characters in BPRD,
Well, we just need this person. Bobby Jo needs to be. She's our everyman
she's
character.
kind of a Scully type, a little bit.
She's our John Mayer character.
Yes.
She's the one that's going to be our intro into
She
the
has been
or the audience
practicing
surrogate,
some
right? Yeah, the audience
witchcraft.
surrogate.
Right, audience surrogate. She's been practicing some degree of witchcraft, but a lot of the time she is a Scully. Like, she's there to question Hellboy.
Yeah, which is weird because she works for the BPRD,
She works for the BPRD.
and we're told that she's a researcher. So on the one hand, she's like the desk cop,
And she's never done field work.
This is her
comes up
first
again and
case,
again.
so she's
Yeah.
got lots of questions. Is it always like this?
Yeah.
It's a sense that
But then
between the
she's-
seasoned veteran Hellboy.
And then she also seems weirdly like doesn't want to believe in all the witch stuff. Like, oh, how does this work? How does this? Well, this can't work.
You're
It
right.
can't be nighttime right now. That's
They
not.
don't-
That's not how the sun works.
Person that's supposed to be plugged into the occult.
She's constantly surprised.
Weird. So we wanted to be our everyman, our audience surrogate, but we also want them and to be skeptical. But at the same time, she's interested. Her position is she's a researcher, an agent for the
Yeah,
bureau.
because somehow she has to be in the BPRD and also amazed whenever anything magical happens.
This is the 4th Hellboy movie. Do we really need this audience surrogate
I
character?
really agree. Actually, I think she's out of place.
Very out of place. She's not in the comic. She's
Yeah.
inserted. There's whole sequences of this movie that can be cut out of the movie because they literally aren't in the comic.
How do you square it with, I got a quote from what the Mignola said, that this is I like this because it's not based on the millions of other Hellboy comics like those previous films were. I read that quote out before. So how do you, like that, saying that, how do you square that then with the desire to include a total canon foreigner who may or may not have been, there may or may not have been a character that shared the name, but this is a canon foreigner character. There's no character like this.
Yeah.
Those two things are not the same.
Yep.
Yeah. Agreed.
I can't reconcile that.
Agreed.
And there are other things that they do too, which we'll get to.
By the way, this actress, Adeline Rudolph, was on the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina TV series and the Riverdale TV series, so she's getting that Archie money.
That's right.
She's regular on both of those.
Well, not only that, but she was cast as Tomie in a proposed Junji Ito Tomie series, which did not go ahead.
Okay, there is a Japanese Tomie though.
There's
7 of them.
Well, there was going to be a TV series, presumably an American TV series about Tomie.
Wow.
She was born in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Speaks fluent German, English, and Korean, but not Cantonese.
There's another guy on the train with them in this train car. He's another BPRD guy. Spoiler, a minute from now his head's going to explode, graphically. And they're transporting some sort of something in a crate.
It's a funnel web spider.
Which is an
Australian spider.
Yeah.
Now this...
It's in America for some reason.
This spider grows giant and small, and I couldn't figure out what triggered these switches.
It was just magic. It was doing
it's
it
a magic spider.
At will, so it could change its size.
Yeah.
It's possessed by a demon.
Right, but at the end she traps it in a jar and doesn't try to escape.
Yeah, it doesn't explode itself out of the jar.
Yeah, I think she vanquished it at that point.
Then why didn't it explode out of this crate earlier?
It was drugged. How do you drug a spider, incidentally?
Yeah, how?
What do you drug it with?
They made it sound like they gassed it.
I suppose you can do that. You can anaesthetize spiders, can't you? All right.
So anyway, the spider escapes.
It's interesting they said sedated, though.
It's giant, and it escapes from the train car, and the guy dies. Hellboy and Song end up being... I think they jump out chasing it, or they're thrown out.
For some reason, this is not... They should have jumped out chasing it, but instead the fight with it makes the train derail, except the train doesn't derail.
No, only that one car. That one car.
I don't think that can happen.
It can in the world of computer-generated images.
We should talk about how distractingly bad the CGI is of the spider.
Yeah. It's not great.
Yeah, it's a giant spider. It's CGI giant spider.
Yeah, they're never great, are they, CGI giant spiders?
Yeah, but this one especially, I was like, this is bugging me.
They don't have a big budget.
Well, actually, I was surprised. Like, reading the comic, I was like, there's that skin, the empty skin and the flying, and I thought none of this stuff's going to be in the movie. It's actually all in the movie.
Yeah.
So I think they've done well with whatever budget they had. They put it all on screen, and they've added in this spider, which they could have saved money on.
Yeah. Well, we needed to get our characters to this.
That's right.
To the Appalachian Woods.
That's right. Because this is the reason they're here. It's not just random wandering from Hellboy.
Yep.
They're accidentally stranded here. They need to find a phone. It's 1959.
Yep. No mobiles.
They can't. They gotta wander around until they find a phone. Okay, this is a good opportunity to talk about another difference here, because I was talking about how Hellboy's not proactive in the comic.
Yeah, they've made Hellboy the main character in this. I noticed that as well.
Tried to make him the main character. Also, he's not sad. He is cynical and bitter in this version. He's really sarcastic. Well, Hellboy in the comics he makes sarcastic one-liners.
Yeah.
But they're almost deadpan.
Yes.
Here, this guy genuinely seems bitter.
Yeah, why is he so grumpy?
I'm not sure. By the way, this actor is named Jack Kesy.
Yes.
He's in Deadpool 2.
Yes.
And he's in The Killer. In a small role, apparently.
I completely missed that.
Enters The Killer.
Well spotted.
I missed it too the first time I went through credits. I was like, 1, Deadpool. Then I went through again. I was like, wait a second, The Killer, is that? And I clicked on it. Fincher's The Killer.
Oh my god, I completely missed that. I got the Deadpool reference, but I missed that he was in The Killer. It's amazing. So that's 2 appearances.
Yeah.
3 if we ever do Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently they cast him... That trick he does where he puts a cigarette out on his tongue and swallows it.
Uh-huh.
Apparently he did that in his interview.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know how you do that. Why you would do that.
Yeah, why would you?
But
why would you train yourself to do
It
that?
certainly makes him look hard-bitten.
Yes. And he plays it hard-bitten. He doesn't
it's weird because this is supposed to be a young Hellboy too. So Hellboy's
That's
born
right.
in like 44.
Yeah.
It's 1959.
Yeah.
He's not that old.
Yeah.
What is he, like 16?
Well, he grew up really fast, is what they say. Like, he was fully grown by about like age 4
But this
or
is
5.
why he was called Hellboy, is because he was a boy at this point in time.
Why would? Yeah, I don't think they've done the math here. Like, why would he be so sardonic and bitter and world weary? It almost
Yeah.
seems like, and also be.
Unless he went through that business in Mexico, and even then, he wouldn't be super bitter about it at this point in his life.
He must have been pretty young in the comics too. I just never think of it.
No, he was in the comics. Those wrestlers that he was hanging out with were young dudes. They were all teenagers, as I recall.
I guess I just sort of think of Hellboy as ageless.
Yeah.
It's interesting because in that interview that was in comicbook.com, the actor, Jack Kesy, actually says, "Oh, this is a young Hellboy. I'm playing a young Hellboy." The other Hellboys were not young because this is way earlier than the other movies. This is, and I watched this. I think, did you even watch those movies?
Yeah.
You clearly did not, because David Harbour played him as like some kind of drunken frat bro, and Ron Perlman played him as a kind of frustrated adolescent. This is the oldest Hellboy.
He's acting a lot older than the other Hellboys.
Yes, it's wild.
Yes. Agreed. So the spider shrinks down and escapes down this grate. So it's down underground somewhere in the sewer.
It's a ventilation
Yeah.
shaft for a coal mine.
For a coal mine, that's
This
right.
part of the world is full of coal mines.
Yeah, song says it's a coal mining country. She also says we are in Appalachia. I don't know if there's a place called Appalachia. We talk about the Appalachians and the Appalachian Mountain Range, but is there a region that's specifically called "Here we are in Appalachia"?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
But I don't know if it has if it has borders. It's not like a state or something, right?
Yeah, of
I think
course.
I did a little reading. There's regions that are considered Appalachia.
Yes.
So, and there are some core towns,
Okay.
which they call core Appalachia, and then there are some,
Okay.
I suppose, some peripheral areas where it's a little vaguer of whether or not it's Appalachia. But there's no U.S. state called Appalachia. You know, there's no electorate called
Okay.
Appalachia. It's just the name for a kind of region.
Okay. So Hellboy says there's something evil in this area, and the evil thing called out to the spider. That's why the spider went berserk, and I can sense it too. So Hellboy is somehow.
He says dark things called to dark things.
Yes.
Okay, so here we've got a kind of brooding Hellboy then?
Yeah.
Yep.
For an unknown reason, it's not like
Is Hellboy a brooder, Ashwin?
at points. I
suppose.
Not in this story.
Yeah. So they go to they're wandering around town. They walk to the nearest house looking for a phone. These people obviously don't have a phone.
We get a great line. The lady, a little boy says, "It's the devil. The devil's coming down the road." Mum comes out and says, "Nah, it's not the devil. That's just that red guy.
Yeah.
I saw him on the cover of Life magazine.
Yeah.
He's that red guy from the United Nations."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is, I don't know, which strikes me as being a very rural American kind of thing to say.
Yeah.
That he would come from the United Nations.
Yeah. But they go in the house, and there's the catatonic boy in this version who's
Yeah.
been hit by
A witch ball.
a witch ball. And
Then-
by the way, there's some old people in here that are really well cast, that are just sitting in the corner, like the grandma and grandpa.
Yeah, they look great.
They look like Corben characters
Yep.
or Deliverance characters. They're real. They don't say anything or move even. They're just sitting there in front of this body that's lying on the floor.
Yeah, and this scene in the comic, they're all just kind of like lined up in the corner ominously,
Yeah,
right? They're doing the same
yeah.
thing here. It's really good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Now we get Tom shows up. He's
Yes.
been away from town for 10 years. Staging is awkward
Yeah, it's
and
not great.
clumsy.
I think
It's
they're
not.
trying to do it like the comic.
They're kind of. We need a
doesn't
close up
help.
on this guy. We need to make it clear that he's been away for 20 years. It just seems it's all handled very casually.
It really felt like
in a long
like,
shot.
Yes, I noticed that as
really
well.
felt like a stage play to me. Like we were watching like we were at the theater and it was like, oh, Hellboy's walked in this room and oh, now look.
It was
Tom
really
Felling's showing
odd
up.
that we couldn't. That he was. We have those people in the foreground and he's in the background coming through the door and we can't see him very well. Really odd, and I think that it's because they're trying to make it look like the comic.
Yep.
Where he stands in the doorway and it's very Corben-esque. He's got the shadows over. He's
Yeah.
got a long potato face. He's got the shadows. He looks vaguely sinister. I'm no movie director, but I think we should have heard him coming. Maybe we could have.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have had the camera follow his footsteps.
That's what I was
coming up
thinking.
to the
Knowing
house.
Crank, it would have been like shaky cam following his feet as he walks up to the
like
house.
Evil Dead. You know,
Yeah, totally.
Let's
Evil
go
Dead,
up
this
to the
guy.
house. And instead, he just appears in the background.
Yes, he appears in the background and
And-
tells us, in the background, he tells us he's been away for 20 years.
I've been away 20 years. They just go, Tom, that you?
Yes.
So you can't even see this guy.
Yeah.
It was, and also this is too many coincidences.
Yes, exactly. Although I guess we have something evil called to the spider and Hellboy, so maybe it's not coincidental.
That's not coincidental that Hellboy would come
Yeah.
here. But then that Tom also showed the witch, the witched boy. I mean, in the comic
Yeah.
you just let it go because weird stuff.
Yeah, so why does it work in the comic? This is a good
Because
question.
the comic opens on this. This is like first page of the comic.
Right.
Hellboy's in a house. Opening panel. Hellboy's in a house with a catatonic kid.
Right.
We don't really
the
care
coincidence
how he
is
got here. It
Tom
doesn't
showing
matter.
up.
Yeah.
Whereas Hellboy's just here because Hellboy's always in weird stuff.
Yeah.
Here though, we've got Spider, Hellboy looking for a phone at the house. In the house that they're looking for a phone in, there's a boy who's been witched. Then a guy comes in who knows about witches and knows the witch that did it.
Yep.
And has been away for 20 years.
Rather
They're
than-
just stacking one
Yeah,
up on one another.
Yeah, it's just like it works so much better when it's just Hellboy's in a house doing Hellboy things.
Very
guy who's been away for 20 years shows up.
You're right. That's very astute of you, Ashton. Well done.
Okay, so it plays out very like the comic. He's like, Tom's like, I'm gonna go see my mom. They're like, your mom passed away. He's like, what about my dad? They're like,
He vanished.
vanished, probably died drunk in the woods or whatever. And he's like, okay, I'm going to go up and find Cora Fisher, who threw this witch ball. And does he invite Hellboy, or does Hellboy invite himself? I can't remember if they...
Hellboy invites himself here.
Right.
He wants to come along because that's
right.
what he does.
So they tried to make him more proactive.
Yes.
But he tries to keep Bobby Joe away. He's like,
That's
Bobby
right.
Joe, you got to get out of here. I'm going to go with this guy.
Because she's a desk worker.
Yeah.
He's like, he doesn't want her hanging out, but she's like, going to come. Suddenly, cut to the Crypt Keeper making witch balls. We actually get a title card
Yeah.
that says witch
It says
balls.
witch balls.
And very odd that this is
She's
in the
talking to
movie.
us.
Yeah.
Like
I
in the
love
comic,
this
it's fourth
bit.
wall. Did you? I found it stuck out. Like a sore thumb.
I also thought it stuck out like a sore thumb, but it was like, it was fun. It really felt like the actual director coming through instead of it just being like he's been hired by the studio to make this movie. This was a bit where it was like,
That's
oh yeah,
why you were
this-
surprised to go back and find it in the
Yeah,
comic.
I was like, oh, this is Brian Taylor doing some nonsense here.
Right.
I see.
So they get to
But
the
it's
house.
the only time it happens too. Like,
I
if
was
there'd
hoping
been
it would
more-
happen
That's
more.
right, yeah.
I really wanted more
But it only happens once. There's
Yeah.
in the comic.
because there's two title cards
That's right.
in the comic in the movie.
No,
but-
it's three because there's the
bone.
the bone, the witch
The
ball,
witch ball.
and then there's a third one. There's like one for each act almost. I can't remember what the third one was.
I remember. I see. That's why I think there's only two. I can't remember the one. But it's like, why isn't there a cutaway for all of these? Why hasn't he added more cutaways? That would
what are you
have
doing?
We get
made it
title
less
cards
weird.
without the cutaways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Why put it in?
yeah.
Well, as you said, perhaps it's a director's touch. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe he went to Mignola and the producer said, "Please let me put this one page in. This is what I do." But it makes sense in a comic because you're drawing on Corben's background as an artist for EC.
Or that loved EC, grew up on those EC comics, and his own horror comics always had a horror host.
This doesn't
Yeah.
happen in films, especially in a horror films.
Yeah.
You don't have horror films that don't turn and speak to camera and
Yeah, very strange. They arrive at Cora's house. They find the skin there.
looks cool.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Again, I thought they're not going to do this in the movie. They did it.
It's a long scene as well. They really go all in on the transformation sequence.
Yeah, they find the jar with the demon bug under the floor. And yeah, that night, as they're waiting for Cora to come back for her skin,
Yep.
this is when we get the backstory, which plays out like the comic with him washing the bones of the cat
Yep.
and the
Crooked Man shows
showing up. By the way, very creepy Crooked Man design. Even in the comic, it was.
They've made it look a lot like the comic.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how well it carries over.
They've changed his name from like Whitkins to Anselm.
Dunno.
Was there
Yeah,
some
why?
miser Whitkins out there that was going to sue them?
Who
It's
knows?
always lawyers
It's like-
that change the names.
It's like, yeah, I'm sure the lawyer said, yeah, let's change this. Change it from 1958 to 1959.
yeah,
Change Whitkins to whatever he is.
yeah.
Was there an actual? Was like the estate of the real life Mr. Whitkins
I didn't look it up.
from 1958 gonna sue?
I didn't look it up. But
Yeah.
Who knows how a lawyer thinks?
We hear about how he survived the war with seemingly just by luck.
He gets a pretty good line that's not in the comic. He says, I wasn't born lucky, or I'm not brave or lucky or smart. It's the bone. He said quite the opposite.
Doesn't he also say, my mother was a witch?
I don't remember that. I wish I'd written
No,
it
it's
down.
Hellboy says my mother was
Oh,
a witch.
Hellboy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone insults witches and Hellboy's like, my mother was a witch.
Right, got it.
I like the line he says how he didn't get the bone because he didn't survive and have the bone because he was smart, brave, or lucky. He said quite the opposite, in fact. Which I thought was a pretty good line. An original one for the screen.
So the raccoon comes in, CGI raccoon comes in through the window, crawls into the mouth. Get a pretty decent body horror effect here.
The raccoon, this is mostly practical.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've got a quote.
Is it like, you mean like a puppet or?
Yeah, I've got a
Okay.
quote from Taylor. He says, "This scene is just like it is from the comic. You read it on the page and you think, well, that could be either be really bad CGI or we could do it the Clive Barker way.
Yeah.
With a bunch of silicone and lube.
Yeah.
And a great performance by an actor, so that's how we did it. I've seen it a million times as we're editing it. I almost can't spot the handoff where it goes from prosthetic to human. It's a straight cut. It's not CGI at all.
Oh, great.
Quote, Marvel would never do this."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Effie Kolb shows up outside, and
Someone
she's
that-
riding the horse.
Really, she's really hamming it up.
Yeah.
She is, but I don't know. I liked her in this. She's got a lot more lines than in the comic.
Yes.
and it is really.
There's nothing wrong with her lines. I think it's probably just her performance.
You know what? I liked her more than Cora. Cora's putting on this accent that's really full on compared
Yeah.
to everyone else on the set.
Yes.
And I didn't mind Effie's accent compared to, I think maybe I liked Effie because Cora was really going for it.
Yeah, her accent. I'm not even American, and these accents rang really false to me. They sounded terrible and overblown.
I didn't like any of them. I was like, they all felt like they were in the wrong place. I was like, is this really what people from
Well,
the
since
hills
because
sound like?
Mignola in the comic is really good at capturing people's voices from different regions. And reading it, I was like, oh, this sounds really good. It's kind of something you forget about when you kind of get all the lore and stuff in your head, and you forget how good he is at the dialogue. And I remember reading Crooked Man this week and enjoying
The way they
that
speak.
Appalachian dialogue that he had
Yep.
captured. And then you get here, and everybody's on a different page about how far to push this.
Yeah, like Cora, the Cora character. What? She almost sounded French. It was so over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think any of them were from the region. They're just putting on their best hick accent.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem like a lot of consistency.
And now she flies away. Effie flies away.
That's practical, so they've got her on wires.
Right.
I
This
watched
is
some behind the
unfortunately
scenes.
10 years after The Witch, as opposed to
it
5
felt
years before The Witch.
Very Eggers. It was they framed it.
But it's
as Eggers
not
as they
from the
could.
comic.
I know. But sometimes we've had this before where
They
Well,
waited
like
too long.
stung.
Blade
Yeah.
2 did this with like it had the same problem as the Matrix.
right.
Is that what it was? Because
Was it?
Blade came before the Matrix.
Yeah,
And,
like
then, and then Matrix happens, and then Blade 2 comes out.
bullet
Now,
time in the
now,
Matrix.
now Blade 2
Yeah.
just feels like a Matrix ripoff.
yes.
Yeah, you're right, actually, because Blade did come out before the Matrix.
Yeah. Okay, so then they have the horse. They take the bit off the horse and turns into Dad. Dad dies on the spot. I was really surprised how much this
Dialogue
was playing
straight
out like
from the comic. In
Yeah.
fact, he even stopped speaking at the same time, on the same word as his dialogue stopped speaking.
Yeah.
In the comic, he says, "Oh, son, Tom, you've come home. Come." And then he stops speaking.
Yeah.
It's the same in both the comic and the
Yeah.
film.
What did you make about the choice of songs at this point?
Didn't
Some of them seemed like 1959 pop releases, and some of them seemed like Appalachian banjo music, or like bluegrass or something.
Yeah.
That I felt like that was more appropriate than whatever was coming out of the 50s, which seemed strangely upbeat.
they've wanted to.
They've tried to have it both ways.
Yes, they have. They have. This is the young Hellboy again.
Yeah.
So the actor
Jack Kesy.
Jack Kesy says, "Oh, this young Hellboy, he likes rock and roll."
Got it.
This is like a part. I think, and we see him with his transistor radio.
Yeah.
Which I presume would have been pretty high tech in 1959. He's tapping it. He's trying to get the tunes going on it. But I just see this as post Deadpool / Guardians of the Galaxy. Every comic book movie now has to have songs.
A bitch and rock and roll soundtrack.
Rock and roll songs on it, and I agree, it seems out of
I
place.
find that the really old stuff sounded good on here, like fit.
The one they have playing over the credits was alright.
Yes,
Trouble
at
in
the
Mind.
end, yeah,
That was
yeah.
pretty good. If they'd stuck to that and the banjo horror.
Yeah.
But they've also got the score, I'm not sure. They've got like a lot of fright chords going on strings. And I'm a bit tired of hearing that in horror movies.
No. Yes. And it goes back to the problem I had with the editor. I think they think this is a scary movie because they filled in the card with all the check marks.
Yeah.
Do this,
Fright
do
chords,
this, do
strings.
this. Strings.
The string crescendo, like...
Edit, cut away to this, cut away to that. Do this, do this. Was any of us ever scared at any point in this movie?
Nope.
Nope.
I was bored.
And Ashton's arch enemy is witches and spiders. As a little kid. As a little kid.
Witches.
Any book with witches in it, he'd be like, I can't listen to this. No spiders in video games or anything. This movie should have been scary. They tried to make a quote-unquote horror movie. It has horror tropes in it, and they've tried to edit it. They've tried to put in stings like it's a horror movie.
Yep.
Never scared me once. I think some of the stuff where they linger, like when the raccoon fills the skin, could have worked.
You're right, it's got moments that... You're right, it's like they're ticking boxes, because later on we have when one of the corpses comes out of a grave in the church, they've done a practical effect where the actor has gone backwards into the coffin. So an athletic sort of stunt double then they've filmed it in reverse and then run the camera back forwards again to make it.
Right.
And it looks pretty good, but we don't see anything else like that.
Yeah. They just ticked the box of how the reverse...
And the J-horror stuff. And the Crooked Man, there's more like Jacob's Ladder kind of things. The Crooked Man's always doing a thing with his neck.
Yeah.
The actors...
He was hanged.
Yeah. Because he was hanged. He's always tilting his head quickly to the side, and the soundtrack gives us a crack sound.
Yeah.
And,
It's like it snaps into place like that.
And it just seems silly that it just keeps happening over and over.
Yeah, it's every time he's on screen.
Yeah.
Apparently, I read somewhere, I don't remember where I read this, but they were going to do more with CGI with him to make his head a bit more...
Oh, okay.
to make that neck positioning a little more extreme, but they ran out of money. Apparently, they're also going to do Hellboy's eyes, make them yellow,
Huh.
and they ran out of money.
Right. By the way, the actor that plays the Crooked Man, Martin Bassindale, was in here as a Civil War soldier.
Bloody hell. Yeah. I missed that one as well.
Yeah.
I didn't go to IMDb, I just used Wikipedia this
Yeah.
time.
No, he doesn't have an IMDb. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page. He's got an IMDb.
Good work, Kumar.
IMDb page. Okay, so they're wandering to the church to bury the dad. They cross through this region where we don't get the Melungeon witches or whatever, but Cora does have her freak out at this point. However, it's not a bug that comes out of her. It's a snake that loops out of her vagina and in through her mouth.
Yeah, like kind of Ouroboros.
Like an Ouroboros.
Again and again, and then finally stops and bites her. Why the snake image versus we've seen the insect in the jar? By the way, the jar broke, and then the bug flew out and bit her. So you would think, by that logic, the bugs would explode out of her, as in the comic. Actually, it makes more sense than in the comic, where we don't know why she exploded with bugs.
We can animate a snake.
Fit another body
easier.
explosion in there.
A snake doesn't have any legs.
Sure.
You only have to animate it moving in one direction. Yeah. I'm sure it's just money.
Yeah.
And the snake bites Hellboy as well. It's not a bad effect where Hellboy
multiple times, and then he like fights it off over and over again.
It's not a bad effect where we see the wounds closing. So we kind of established that Hellboy has Wolverine-style fast healing here in this version.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. But attention wasn't drawn to it. If you watched, you could see them vanish. And I thought, oh, that's a nice touch. But the poison affects him, it seems. Even though he's healing the bites, the poison still affects him, and he blacks out.
Yes.
And then we get...
He has the vision of the cathedral.
Why? Oh yeah, yes, it's the cathedral, like in the comic, but here it goes way further, and we see his mother.
Yeah, there's this whole
His witch mother.
emotional through line because they've had to make Hellboy the main character in this story in the
that's
movie.
it, isn't it?
So they're trying to add like an emotional hero's journey for Hellboy to
Right,
have.
that's exactly why they've put it in. You're right, and it's completely out of place. And again, you can't square it with what Mignola was saying about, we're adapting one Hellboy story. We're going to laser focus right in, and it's going to be my version
The story's
of Hellboy.
about Tom Felling. If I were making Hellboy the Crooked Man the movie, Tom Felling would be the main character. It would be like a Knives Out movie where Benoit Blanc shows up, and he's just helping out the other guy. It's the story's about whoever's trying to solve the murder, right? It would be like that, and then the story isn't really about Benoit Blanc. Benoit Blanc's just there as like a means to an end to solve the mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess that they wouldn't have gone for it.
No.
We've got people, we've got people saying that. So I've got Brian Taylor. They've in the interview with comicbook.com online. The interviewer asks, Brian, I've heard you say that Mike's comic was your only source of inspiration. So what were your primary goals for differentiating the Crooked Man from previous adaptations we've seen so far? This is a theme. I only read a couple of interviews, but Taylor and Mignola seem to be really banging on about how this film is different from the others. How this is going to be a truer Hellboy. This is going to be Mike Mignola's Hellboy. Considering that Mike Mignola was active to varying degrees on all three of those other movies, including script treatments, I wonder why he's so adamant that this one is going to be the genuine article. It almost seems like he's coping a bit with the fact that those films didn't take off and do brilliantly, I suppose.
Yeah.
First two did alright, 2019 obviously didn't. There's obvious reasons why he might want to distance himself from 2019. But it's odd. I finished this quote, right? So they ask him, differentiating it from previous adaptations. He said, well, the thing I mean, we didn't need to look to the other movies. This is not a reboot. This is not a reimagining. It's just taking a really iconic and beloved piece of source material, The Crooked Man, and adapting it as truly as we could. Not my Hellboy, not someone else's Hellboy, but Mike's Hellboy. Okay, fine. Then why have we got this scene that didn't exist in the comic in it?
Yeah, we even see like embryo Hellboy.
That's so lame. We don't need
CGI
Hellboy's origin.
embryo
Why have we got to
Hellboy.
see his origin again? Why did they have to shoot Bruce Wayne's parents in the alley again?
Yeah, it's a bit like that, considering how late it is into the movie. It's like 40 minutes in. They reach the church. The priest is played by the butler from Fresh Prince.
Yes, I know.
Really?
Whoa.
Who's English? Here doing
Yes.
again, yet another person doing an accent.
He's in Remembrance of the Daleks, I noticed.
Yeah, I saw that too. We'll have to. We might have to bring in a sound effect for Doctor Who, like maybe the TARDIS.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, plays are pretty similar. He says Cora is here.
Direct lines from the comic again.
The witches start showing up. They actually passed them as they were coming through here. The witches from town start surrounding the church. This is when it goes black. It doesn't go black earlier like in the comic. And I think it pretty much plays out similar. I mean, once night falls, the Crooked Man shows up. He tries to lure them out. He tries to lure the priest out with gold, turning him young, giving him his vision back. They raise the corpses of the sinners that are in the holy ground. And we get the same thing where they squeeze the holy power into the bone.
Yep.
And draw the cross onto the shovel. Hellboy takes that shovel and one hit kills the Crooked Man.
Again.
Yeah.
I thought we see him flying away in bird form this time.
Yes. This time
So this is the biggest difference probably to the comic is
Well, we get a third act, basically.
in the comic this is the big climax.
Yes.
Yes.
Final climax is in this church.
But here it's at the end, only the end of the second act.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's Dark Knight of the Souls.
They're like, now we need to track him down to his lair and kill him there.
Okay.
So Hellboy and Tom are going to go up to the old house.
But our other characters need
And
something to do.
Song is going to stay behind there.
Again.
Yeah. But this time she is actually staying behind. She's going to stay at the church.
Yeah, well, Hellboy wants her to stay behind again.
By the way, the woods in Bulgaria look really good.
Yeah, they do.
The the drone shots look really good. It looks exactly right.
So our characters need something to do. So while Hellboy and Tom are heading up to the
They get
mansion,
a lot of busy work over the next half hour.
they decide they're going to help Hellboy and Tom defeat the Crooked Man. The Crooked Man seems to draw power from the earth. We've had a few references from Hellboy
About evil dirt.
about evil dirt. And Tom, we get a line from Tom about how the coal mines in the dirt are like
veins.
veins.
They're like veins that carry the evil through the hurricane.
Okay, that doesn't really make sense, but whatever.
It's like they didn't want to put in the Hamunjan witches. Was that what they were called?
That's too much.
The Munjan... What were they? I wrote them down somewhere.
They didn't want a whole nother class of...
Melungeon.
They didn't
Melungeon
want to pay any more extras.
Yeah, so they're like, well, we're going to put the mines in here somehow. We're going to make the caves evil.
We'll just say, cave evil. We'll just say that there'll be veins or something. Wasn't it a little bit like that in Stranger Things or something with...
Was it? I've only seen I watched the first season when it came out.
I stopped after season.
You legends. Yeah, forget I mentioned it. It doesn't make sense. So, and then she says, to carry this analogy that doesn't make sense further, she says, well, here's what we'll do. We'll if this was a war... So hang on, I thought they were veins, but now we're talking about war. If this was a war, we would blow up those tunnels with dynamite. And the priest says, but
It's
what do you mean?
a big stretch of
We don't
logic.
have
I
that. So
agree
for-
with the priest.
Yeah, the priest's like, what's the dynamite? She goes, well, I'm going to go down... So it's going to be a spell. I'm going to go down there and cast a spell. So we've had like 3 leaps. We start with evil veins, we move to war tunnels, and we end up with dynamite and spells. Well, I don't even know what spell she's going to cast. She does end up casting a spell.
Yeah.
We know she's been trying to cast a spell, because she asks Cora at one point, how do I cast a spell? Cora's like... She says something about, you have to think about something really sad. Okay, that's what powers magic, I guess.
Okay.
Sad thoughts. It's the opposite of Peter Pan. And so she goes down into the mines with the priest. He's killed.
Yes.
Yeah.
By crows?
Crows.
Yeah.
They peck his eyes out.
Yeah, it's pretty graphic.
It's a cool moment, actually. I didn't mind that. I don't know if it works for Hellboy, but like...
It was
I
pretty...
thought the visual was pretty good.
Yes. Yes. And the crows have been like kind of the... almost like familiars of the Crooked Man. Crooked Man turned into a crow, I think, when he flew away, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're,
And the
also-
cutaway, the witch
they're
is
like
talking
a
to a
spirit
crow.
animal.
And also Asmodeus is a big crow in the scene of Hellboy's birth.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's just crows are evil.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, instead of frogs, it's normally frogs. In
Yeah, you're right,
Hellboy,
it's
isn't it?
normally frogs. I would just replace crows with frogs with crows, you're right. That's exactly what it is. Amazing. Bobby Joe casts a spell. It's German.
So
She
this is supposed to depower the Crooked Man?
Well, actually, sorry, I skipped a bit. The spider shows back up.
Yes.
Which I didn't mind, because it's been down there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's chilling out down there. Now it's back, baby.
Yeah.
And then, in order to beat the spider, she casts a spell on it.
Yeah.
And so she rants and raves in German. She floats up off the ground. As I mentioned, the actor speaks fluent German, so it's all correct German. She's saying something like, go to sleep. I'm attacking your mind, go to sleep. Something like that. And, but question why... And then the spider shrinks and she traps it in a jar. So I think that's why it stays small, because she's defeated it with the spell. But question, that also affects the Crooked Man back at the mansion, who at that point has overpowered Hellboy. Question, why does...
It's the mind powers. It's like Hellboy's about to shoot himself because
Yeah.
he's got like a vision or something of his mother.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. You're right. It was the witch ball that saves him when he's overpowered. Yeah. It's one of those sequences that we mentioned before. Hellboy can't... If you want to overpower Hellboy, you have to put the whammy on him
Yes.
by trapping him in a vision.
Yeah.
Yes, we get kind of a haunted house sequence here, which we've seen in hundreds of other
Yeah.
movies, where they wander through and there's all sorts of
There's jump scares and illusions.
spooky visions,
And gross stuff.
stuff that's switching around.
Figures moving around in the background.
Yeah.
Effie Kolb comes back in and he gives her his bone.
Right. So what is Song trying to do down in the... She's trying to destroy the mines.
The idea was she's going to cast a spell down in the mines, and that's going to depower the Crooked Man because he draws power from the veins, which are also the tunnels.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
But she casts a spell on the spider and subdues the spider. Why would that affect the Crooked Man.
Right.
It's just casting any spell in the veins.
Any spell down there.
Yeah, it's
Also,
like...
is
has a
Hellboy
side
like
effect.
trying to save his mother's soul or something like that here?
That's what the Crooked Man's tempting him with, because, as Ashwin pointed out, Hellboy's the main character, so he has to be tempted.
Yes.
He has to be undergoing
Yeah.
some kind of character development.
Yeah, he's using a... what's the word? It's like...
You're the screenwriter.
I had it in my head before. It's like he needs a emotional through line. He needs to have a... I don't know, whatever.
He has to be at his lowest ebb at some point, right? Where he's considering...
Yeah.
So the Crooked Man offers him to set his mother free from torment. Her mother, who we've heard over and over Hellboy has never seen and doesn't care about.
Yeah.
The Crooked Man says, she's burning in hell. Oh, witches are burning in hell. And if you give me that bone, I'll set her free. Hellboy's supposed to be tempted by this, but why would he?
Yeah.
Why would he?
Okay. Then they beat the Crooked Man by... Right, they had the witch ball.
The Crooked Man overpowers Hellboy with, like, bugs
Yes.
in his mouth.
Yes.
Like Superman and the Engineer in the new Superman movie.
Yeah.
But then Tom saves Hellboy with the witch ball.
Right.
Hits the Crooked Man with it. It goes in his mouth, he swallows it, and then he
Yes.
starts choking. And he says, "That's from Cora."
What do witch balls do?
Whatever you want.
Well, okay, I remember I had an issue with this, because if you throw a witch ball at a person, it will make them catatonic.
Right.
Great. This is an agent of the devil.
Yep.
So are witches more powerful than him? Can witches overpower the Crooked Man? That seems...
Maybe it's because it's thrown with love.
Yeah, because
And not evil.
that's right, because he loved Cora. And it's Cora's vengeance.
Got it.
They've added... Sorry, this is completely a side note. They've added this romantic plot with Cora and Tom.
Yep.
In the movie, right?
Yep.
That's not in the comic.
No.
In the comic, Cora is just like a woman he knows.
That's right.
Because he's
But
like,
doesn't-
you were gonna marry this other guy. What happened to that?
Yeah, they were sweethearts in the film. In the comic, they were not.
But
right?
didn't she marry that guy even in the comic because
Yes.
Tom left town?
No, because he remembers when he was in town, he was like, "Oh, weren't you gonna marry this
I'm
guy?"
going to marry that nice boy. And she says he died and all my babies died, and that's why I turned to the dark arts. Whereas in the film, it's like because we need more. We need to drag this out.
Yeah.
Even though this is the shortest of the 4 Hellboy movies, Crooked Man's not a long book, so we have to draw it out. So
Yeah.
we'll have they'll be sweethearts, and there'll be some. And
Right.
she partly fell to the dark arts because he left and married someone she didn't want to marry, etc., etc.
Right. Okay. So the witch ball manages to weaken the Crooked Man enough that they are able to defeat him.
Yep.
And I think he disintegrates into, because he had the coins. He had pennies in this version.
Yeah,
copper
Hellboy
pennies.
shoots him in the head.
and he
That's right.
explodes into pennies.
That's right.
Yeah, well, pennies come out of his head. Like his head
Yeah.
bursts
Yeah.
and all
Yeah,
the pennies
that's
come
right.
out. It's pretty cool. Hellboy picks up some of the coins. Tom says, "I suppose those are all souls."
Yeah.
And there's a shiny new one. Hellboy's looking at it, and Tom says, do you reckon that's my soul?" And in an okay bit of exchange, Hellboy flips it to him and says, "I don't know, I guess you'll find out, just like
Yeah.
all of us."
Yeah. Well, it's very much like Hellboy is in the comic.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Often he's like, I don't know. Tom has lots of questions. He's like, I don't know.
There is a refrain. There is an exchange like that in the comic where all the gold that the crab monster was guarding vanishes when the crab monster dies, turns to nothing. And Tom says, "I wonder what happened to... Do you reckon that gold was the souls? Do you think they're now free, or did they go back down to hell with him?" And Hellboy says, "I don't know."
Yeah. That's one of the complaints I've seen about Mignola's writing is that he's too vague sometimes with the lore,
Right.
Like, and all the magic stuff. And I don't mind that because I feel
It's the only way to do it.
I feel like you're experiencing it with Hellboy,
Yeah.
right? Because Hellboy doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't care what's going on.
It's gotta
I, the
be
reader,
only way to do
don't
it.
know
I
what's
agree.
going on.
I agree.
They leave the mansion. They
Less
find
is more.
aged Effie Kolb, and they...
Hellboy says, "I've woken up to worse," which is not a very Hellboy line.
Yes.
Does this mean Hellboy
Especially if
sleeps
he's-
with old ladies?
Especially if he's 14 years old.
No, this is like because she looks hungover. I think is what he's talking about.
I think he... No, it sounded like I've woken up with women in bed.
You
that
sweet
look
summer
worse.
child.
No.
I think he was saying,
Why is he knowing Hellboy as a character? I'm like, oh, he's like, I've woken up with a worse hangover than
You're
this.
right.
Yes.
Although that's more like the David Harbour version. Yeah, this is one of not three, but one of a couple of odd attempts to make Hellboy sexually active or romantically inclined, which is weird. Because, of course, the priest informs us when he's with Bobby Joe in the church, that the only thing Hellboy is scared of is telling Bobby Joe how he really feels about
Yes.
it. Apropos of nothing.
Yes. There was no indication that there's any chemistry between these two.
Nope.
And also, we've invented a BPRD character, effectively, despite maybe this character appeared in one line of some issue of...
Yeah, okay. Yeah, she's invented.
There are so many other BPRD characters we could have brought in.
Yeah, there's a character
this.
like her that's in lots of the comics. I forget her name, but she's a complete muggle. The only thing she knows is she just reads a lot of books.
Yep.
She's a great character.
I can't remember the blonde one. With
the blonde one.
Yeah, with the short... Like,
Yeah, with the bob.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like that character. Why not just bring her in? Why invent hot Asian character?
Yeah, it's very strange. And then to suddenly say you're afraid to reveal your feelings to her.
What feelings? The only thing we get...
If it had been an established BPRD character, I could kind of understand this. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it had been that, or the Fire Lady or whatever, I'd be
Liz.
like, okay,
Liz.
I get Liz, I could get it. But to have some rando new character, and then halfway through the movie being like...
Even if it was an established character, imagine you're coming in blind to Hellboy.
Yeah, even that.
It wouldn't
you're right.
make any
Yes.
sense. You have to set that up. They did that really well in 2004. I have no problem with Hellboy and Liz's romantic relationship in the Del Toro
works. It
films.
works really
because
well in
they put
that
a lot of work into it. Here, we just get him
That's like,
saying...
that movie is a rom-com, right?
It's like many things.
Yeah.
It's many things. Here, the only sign we get that he's sweet on Bobby Joe, I suppose, is that he keeps trying to keep her out of danger.
Yeah.
That could just as easily be read as, get out of my face, newbie.
Yeah, that's what I read it as.
Yeah, but you were supposed to see it as him protecting
Yeah.
her because he loves her. I'm forced to conclude, I'm almost forced to think, is this a case of the not gays?
Oh, right.
Is this why we're getting cracks about Hellboy sleeping around
Yeah, right.
and have him attracted to an obviously very attractive
It makes
woman?
sense in a crank context.
You think it's like Brian Taylor saying, my characters always have to fuck.
Yeah, it could be. Could be.
We don't get a Chinatown scene like we do in Crank, though.
I don't direct any monks. You know, my characters have to be sexually active.
Yeah.
Hellboy has to be interested in women.
Yeah, maybe.
Or I can't direct this character.
Maybe.
Yeah, Effie Kolb has really gone all in.
She's
on, like,
all in the sexy, yeah.
full nymphomaniac.
Yeah.
He even calls her a nymphomaniac.
Yes.
Hellboy calls her a nymphomaniac.
Yes.
We don't see her doing any nymphomania. She's just wearing a sheer, like, kind of nightie. And talks about riding a horse all night.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, at the 1 hour mark, when they're trying to figure out what's going on, Hellboy does say we might be looking at a dimensional rifting Lovecraft type scenario. So can somebody ring that bell, please?
Yeah, I'll ring that bell for that. That's such an odd line because this is
real world
This
type
is the
scenario
least
that I've dealt with
Lovecraft
before.
movie. This is
that's right. This
is the Wicker Man version
Yes.
of Hellboy.
So why put a reference to the Eldritch stuff in?
strange.
Really strange. And again, it's not in the comics, so why put it in?
Yeah, don't know.
Why put this in your folk horror movie?
Yeah. So basically, a helicopter, BPRD helicopter, shows up to take Joe and
We got a really
Hellboy
odd
away.
jump transition from a kind of like. We got some soft music playing as she goes up to the phone.
Phone booth.
We're being signaled that the film's winding up. We can relax now. And then we get a smash cut to Hellboy hanging out of a helicopter and Fright
Looks like a Vietnam War shot.
and Fright Chord's playing.
Yes.
I'm like, what's going on?
It's the really bizarre thing to me, and I'm sure it's going to be explained by budgetary reasons or something.
Yeah.
It's green. The window of this helicopter is green screened out.
Right.
Which is bizarre to me that Brian Taylor would do that, because in Crank, there's a scene where Jason Statham is hanging out of a helicopter over Los Angeles, and he's actually hanging out of a helicopter over Los Angeles on one wire, holding onto the helicopter with one hand. And he's like, yeah, Hellboy has to be green screened into this helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get a shot of the horse that says "Beware, I am a witch" painted on its side, and then we cut to credits.
Yes.
And then I think we get to see the logo one more time at some stage here in the credits.
Yes.
So he used it a second
Yes,
time.
he did. His the ones that he made on his home on his
Yes.
laptop at home.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, what's our trivia?
There's not a huge amount available online, so I was mostly relying on kind of like promotional interviews and things like that. The budget was $20 million.
Okay,
is
it's significant.
Yeah.
It's not a huge amount for a big movie. But it's the lowest by far of the 4 Hellboy movies.
Yeah.
They were.
Oh
all,
yeah. Of course.
They were all in many tens of millions of dollars. Its box office was $2 million in its Mexico release. Well, I doubt it made $2 million in Mexico alone. It probably was released selectively in various places.
I just looked up the budget of The Witch. It was $4 million.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Okay.
And I bet that movie made a bit more than $2 million.
It says, Wikipedia says $40 million.
That's good. No, because it was released straight to video on demand.
Yes.
That's right. So especially in the States, which I imagine, which is like its primary audience, right?
Yeah.
By a distributor called Ketchup Entertainment.
Yeah.
Why did they release it direct to video on demand? I don't know.
Right.
You know, Mignola and Taylor and the actors were doing promotional interviews.
The lead up to this movie, it seemed like it was going to get a theatrical release.
Yes.
A wide theatrical release, or not super wide, but at least it was going to come out.
I don't know why they panic because the movie's not very good, and then pull it from cinemas.
That seems strange.
I've never heard of that kind of thing happening.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I couldn't find any explanation for why. As you mentioned, it was shot in Bulgaria over 2.5 months, and the screenplay was by Mignola and Taylor, and also Christopher Golden, who wrote the Hellboy novels. Let's talk about prosthetics.
Okay.
Oh, the Hellboy makeup?
Yes.
Something that always bothers me is Hellboy doesn't have lips. And you can't really tell when Mignola's drawing it, because all of Mignola's characters, like, none of them have any facial features or anything.
No, they all look...
When Corben's drawing it, you can really tell this guy doesn't have lips.
No,
this
he
guy
has like a beak.
like a big, like, stone jaw that just moves up and
it's
down.
like he's made of rock. Yeah, unfortunately.
And it looks fine on Ron Perlman's makeup for him to have like a proper mouth, because he doesn't really have big lips like this Jack Kesy guy that has.
Jack Kesy's got some luscious lips. Mm-hmm. So, well, they wanted as much of his features to come through as possible.
Okay.
Because they felt like they needed to go in the other direction from David Harbour, who was absolutely covered in makeup.
Yeah.
So much so that he was completely unrecognisable.
Yeah.
It felt like maybe they didn't get the best performance out of Harbour. Because of that, well, it says, in terms of prostheses, we wanted to strive to make it as transparent as possible. Like a problem, I think, in the last film with David Harbour, who's a very charismatic actor and people love him, but he had so much shit all over him. There's too much shit on me. You know what I mean? It was like a full mask. You couldn't see David Harbour. It didn't look like him. It didn't sound like him. It didn't feel like him. I wasn't seeing any of his personality shine through. So for this one, I wanted to make sure by working with the prosthetic guys, who were great, they were KMFX in the UK, our mandate from the beginning was, let's make this as transparent as possible, because I wanted to put the camera really close to him, and I really want to see his eyes, I want to see his emotion, I want to see his personality come through as much as possible. Okay, so I suppose that's why he's the least made up of our three Hellboys so far. And in fact, I was watching some behind the scenes, and his back wasn't even... He didn't have anything even on his... Because he doesn't take that trench coat off. It's just the chest and the face and the arms. I thought the hand was pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah. What other trivia? I suppose there's not much else. The rest of my quotes have to do, I suppose, with adaptation.
Okay.
I will say that apparently Mike Mignola wrote the first draft.
Okay.
Taylor said that Mignola wrote the first draft. When I came in, I was really excited because I knew what we were doing, which was to try and make Mike's version of Hellboy come alive for the first time, really.
Okay.
So again, dumping on the three previous movies that Mignola was involved in, all three. He said it was funny when I read the first draft, the draft that Mike wrote with Chris Golden, there were a lot of things in it, a lot of movie compromises. I think they felt like they did that because they had to make it a movie. They made it more contemporary, there were cell phones and stuff. And he said, when I did my pass, I didn't want to use their draft as a launching point. I wanted to go back to the comic book. I told Mike that I was going to change a lot, but he would love the changes because it's all going back to what he originally did. He says he took out all the new stuff and brought it back to the 1950s. Okay. So again, really playing up the idea that this is going to be the most authentic,
real Hellboy,
the most authentic Hellboy, the one which is going to laser in on the comics. We're going to get the Hellboy adaptation.
Just read the comics.
Everybody's... Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the theme of this bloody podcast. Yeah. We'll see when we discuss adaptation. Right. Comics. Let's do our votes. Ashwin, what did you think of the comics?
Yay, absolutely, it's great. Crooked Man is, probably one of the best Hellboy stories. It's not my favorite, like it is Mike's, but, I mean, it's great. I love Hellboy. I love all of Hellboy. Definitely read it.
Yeah.
Read the whole thing, all 1,000 pages or however much there is on it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love Hellboy. Not as much as you do, Ashwin, but it's way up on my list. It's one of the comics that I just read whenever I could get my hands on it, even before I became a huge comic nerd, thanks to the influence of your comic nerd dad. I would always read them whenever I could find them. I love Hellboy, and I'm even coming around to Richard Corben's art.
Great.
Good.
That's your dad's influence again.
Yeah, well, this is the, you can see this is the Corben shelf.
You got a whole shelf of
whole
Corben?
second shelf, and part of that top shelf is all Corben.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely love this series. I thought he was a great fit for Hellboy. He drew maybe 4 or 5 series, a few hundred pages there of Hellboy stuff.
This one especially, as Ashwin said, like, if you need woods and gnarled...
Yeah, and his drawing of the Crooked Man is really a creepy dude.
So creepy.
Unbeatable. So great.
Yeah.
Really great series.
What about the film?
I think it's inoffensive. I mean, it's better than 2019.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not scary. I think that's his biggest crime. I think it's competent. I'm gonna go yay, but it's very borderline.
Right.
It's right on the line. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. I don't think it's bad per se. I probably won't remember it a week from now. I think that's my... But I am gonna vote yay.
Damning with faint praise.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say nay. Not because I disliked it, like I didn't, like it's just fine. I
Right.
don't know why you would bother watching it when there's already the first Del Toro
Yeah.
movie. The
I will
first
say-
2 Del Toro movies.
I mean, I've seen that first Del Toro one maybe 4 times. And that guy, the wind-up guy,
Yeah.
scary every time.
Cronin. Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
That guy is so scary.
Yeah. Where's the Cronin equivalent in this movie?
There isn't one.
No.
And they've tried.
They've tried so hard.
They've tried so hard.
We've got close-ups of the Crooked Man's tongue flicking around behind his teeth. We've got his gnarled fingers, his long nails. None of
There's
it's
there's
making an
no-
impact, right?
There's no vision. Well, very few directors have the vision of a Del Toro.
Yeah.
Of course, we can't expect other people to get to that level, but you have to have something. The Crank director is not the guy you go to for this kind of material. Okay, where are you laying on this?
I also am coming down nay.
Okay.
I think this would be a really great episode of a Hellboy TV show
Yeah.
if you cut an hour out.
Right, it's a half-hour TV series. It's a Hellboy cartoon, maybe.
Yeah, like, or cut 40 minutes to an hour
40
out
minutes.
of it.
I think it's a 40-minute TV series.
Yeah,
And it's, you
this
can
would
cut
be
out all the stuff
an
in the
amazing
mansion.
like hour of television.
Yeah.
If you
Oh,
get rid, so of course by what that criticism means is that this is too long.
Yeah.
The entire third act, for one thing, is completely unnecessary.
yeah.
There are heaps of scenes that outstay their welcome, that go on way too long.
Yeah, it's
I
just
guess.
padded
You
out.
mean
trying
in
to
the
be
third
creep-
act specifically?
But not just in the third act,
Okay.
throughout.
Okay.
Yeah, there are scenes where we're looking at the witches or where the Crooked Man's speaking, and it's just going on way too long. Or entire scenes that should be cut, especially anything to do with Hellboy's mother.
Yeah.
I think, and yeah, the story doesn't sustain my interest for an hour and 40 minutes. I don't really mind the fact that it's low budget.
No, not at all.
It'd make a great TV movie, maybe.
As I said, I'm surprised that everything was on screen, like the skin and the
all there.
flying, and they've added that spider, and it's all in there.
Yeah. But the accents, the accents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were taking me out of it. I don't think, they didn't spend, it's all there on screen, right? There's not a lot of money going on salaries here. We've got the butler from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We've got a bunch of extras that were also in, like, Toxic Avenger and Red Sonja. When I was going down IMDb, I'm like, gee, there's a lot of people that were also in Red Sonja and Toxic Avenger. Yeah, no, it's no.
Okay, adaptation. It's pretty close, except for the last half hour.
Yeah, it would be good to hear from you first, Kumar. Yeah, let's go.
Well, actually, on the movie and adaptation, I was going to wait for you guys to both vote first, and I was going to align. But now I have to choose first. Okay,
You don't have to.
I'm going to go nay, based on Hellboy's personality. I don't feel like they got a Hellboy personality that I like in it. I don't like this bitter, old guy who's super sarcastic all the time and kind of mean and not looking out for song, that kind of stuff I didn't like. So I think that the plot is all there, the dialogue is there from the comic, it's very close in that respect, but they've had to stretch out the last half hour and they've changed Hellboy's personality in a way that I don't like, so I'm going to vote nay on adaptation.
Yeah. Actually, what do you think?
The middle section of the movie, like after the opening with the spider and up until the third act, it's pretty much beat for beat the comic.
Yep.
But I feel like it really feels like the guy who did Crank is trying to do Robert Eggers doing Hellboy.
Yes.
And it's only kind of half working, and it only kind of half feels like the comic did.
Yeah, get Robert Eggers. I can't afford him, so we get the Crank guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, for me, it's nay for those reasons. And also, I mean, I suppose to respond to a lot of the way that it was promoted, it doesn't achieve what they would claim they were setting out to do, which is to adapt a singular Hellboy story. You know, things like Bobby Joe and Hellboy's mother and the way Hellboy behaves. It's so weird that this is the one that Mignola and others have fixated on as the one that's going to redeem the series. And yet
they have to do that in terms of promotion, though.
Well, were the other films that bad? It's just... It honestly feels like... I've even got a quote where they talk about the budget. Like, Mignola said, for years, we've been saying who? We've been saying, if you're going to make a Hellboy movie, make it small.
It's him and Mike Richardson. I guess that's who he is.
And for the perfect story to do that with is my personal favourite, The Crooked Man. I think it's one of the best things I've ever written. It's beautifully illustrated by Richard Corben. And it's a solid story that doesn't involve a million different characters. Everyone agreed from the very beginning, yes, we want to do this one. Budget-wise, it's good because it's a lower budget kind of story. It's not the Hellboy origin. It's not Hellboy saving the world. It's not huge. It's a subtle, dark little folk horror story.
Yes. Should have been perfect. Material.
Yeah, it should have been. But then they couldn't resist. Well, I guess because it wasn't enough material.
I think the material works as a comic. To not have a character arc for Hellboy works in a comic which is part of a series of hundreds of issues. To isolate that into a movie and then to shoehorn the stuff in here might be what's causing trouble.
There's another quote from Brian Taylor in that other interview I referred to. He said, "We didn't reference the other movies at all because, you know, they're $200 million space operas." No, they aren't. What a statement to make. Did he even watch them?
Yeah, bizarre.
And the fact that they spend so much time ripping on these earlier movies. And then I watched this one after having read all this, and then I watched this
desperation.
one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. Desperation.
Should I change my yay vote to a nay?
No. We're talking about adaptation now.
Yeah.
I think I've saved this discussion for adaptation because I think ultimately they're trying to say this is going to be the greatest adaptation yet, and it really isn't.
It's not.
You're right. The first Del Toro one is still the best.
Well, I guess should we talk? You've seen all the movies, haven't you, Ashwin?
Yes.
Well, which one's?
I've purged 2019 from my brain.
Which one's the best film of the four?
The first one.
Yeah, the first one.
Some people think Golden Army is better, which is weird to me. I thought Golden Army was like more of a superhero movie.
Yeah, I feel like it's more of a Del Toro movie because it's got lots of weird things like the troll market.
Yeah.
And like forest spirits.
Yeah.
Kind of like a kaiju in the middle with like that tree god.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, which one's the best adaptation of the four?
I think the first one.
This is a pretty straightforward discussion. All right. What's your favourite Hellboy comic, Ashwin?
My favourite Hellboy comic, I can never remember the name. It's the one where Hellboy goes to the Natural History Museum, and he's talking to an African mummy, and then the African mummy tells him this story about it's like a fairy.
Makuto. It's the one we read. It's a Corben one.
Yeah. It's like the first couple pages of Mike Mignola, and then when it goes once it goes into the mummy telling the story with Hellboy as the main character, it goes into Richard Corben art.
Yes.
Is it Makoma? Is it that one?
Yeah, I think so.
Makoma, that's it.
Okay, that's my favorite Hellboy story.
Oh, great! And it's drawn by Richard Corben. Well, mostly drawn by.
My
Richard
favorite
Corben.
is his corpse in the Iron Shoes.
I like
That's
Iron
when he's
Shoes.
carrying that corpse around on his back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they adapted that into the first movie.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple scenes where he was doing that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I should have come prepared to answer my own question. Maybe Conquer a Worm.
Yep.
It's got everything I love about Hellboy in it.
Yeah.
Heads in cabinets.
Yes.
Nazis,
Oh, actually, I would
Eldritch
say,
horrors.
it's not a Hellboy
it's-
story, but Amazing Screw-On Head is maybe the best Hellboy story, in a sense. He doesn't show up in it.
Oh, you've got to bring up Pancakes as well, right?
Oh,
Pancakes, number one.
Yeah,
Actually, that
pancakes.
is number one. That's
Yeah,
even better.
pancakes.
Now he's lost to us forever.
He has
Yes.
tasted the pancakes.
Okay, please like, rate, review, subscribe, and share. You can contact us or leave a message or comment through the email address in the show notes, or send us a DM on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, YouTube, or Reddit. And please join our Patreon at patreon.com/comicbookmovieoblivion, all one word. We would have used that money to go see this movie in the cinema if it had been released in Australian cinemas, which it was not.
Right.
But that movie would have been well spent if we had it. Next week we'll be doing Hercules
Excellent.
from 10 years ago. I think
With The Rock?
with The Rock, directed by... You don't know who's directed by?
No.
Well, there's
I
a
know
reason
nothing about this
there's
film.
a reason we're doing it next week. It's directed by Brett Ratner.
Whoa. Holy shit.
Yeah. So I tried to time it.
Aye.
We're a bit behind schedule of real world events or whatever, but anyway,
Oh, that's cool.
it's Brett. I think it's his last credit before this month.
Before he fled to Israel.
Yeah.
Jesus.
There were two series done by Steve Moore, written by Steve Moore of Hercules Comics, 10 issues from Radical Comics, so we'll be covering those. And this movie, which I have actually seen once,
Okay.
jet-lagged, fell asleep through chunks of it.
Well, that bodes well.
Yeah. All right, see you next week.
Thank you, Asher.
Thanks for having me.
Trouble in mind, I'm blue, yeah. I won't be blue always, but well, the sun gonna shine in my back door someday. Hope so anyhow, boy. Trouble in mind is blue. I just see me right here too.